How are you doing today?
Me, I'm doing good, thank you. And how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. How's your
Good.
day been today then?
Today, I've had a pretty busy day with work. Um,
Mhm.
Logged off around 3. Had a quick rest, and then popped down the gym for a leg session. Yeah, so
Yeah, the best session.
just to keep up my physio and uh,
hmm
and my recovery.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what we're here today to find out, more about why you had this leg session and where it's taken you so far. So
Right,
the floor is over to you.
me. Okay, so I guess where do I start? Is it's pretty. So do I start with what happens to me, or where I am now,
Yeah,
or
let's start with what happened.
okay,
Let's start at the beginning.
start at the beginning. Okay, then. So back in July 2020, I was involved in a pretty serious accident where I was a cyclist. Um, oh dear. So this is hard. Yeah, a moment.
You can have as many moments as you
Yeah.
need.
Okay. So I was a cyclist, knocked off my bike by a car from behind. I got run over and then dragged under the car 20, 30 feet, where I remained trapped under the car for a while until a lady called Teresa, who kind of came to my rescue. She got the driver out the car, got her to safety, and she could hear me crying out for help. So she realised I was kind of trapped under the car. Uh, she stopped passersby um, who um, who got out of cars, stopped traffic. They managed to, like 8 of them,
Mhm.
managed to lift the car off me. Don't know where I found the strength, but I managed to crawl from under the car using my right arm. Once I was free, they put the car back down, and then from there, I was comforted by um, people who came to my rescue by putting a full blanket on me while we waited for the emergency service to turn up. So the police turned up, the ambulance, so the first responders, and then they realised how bad I was, so they called for London's air ambulance. Um, so so yeah, so yeah, so while I was there, so that's what happened to me,
Mhm.
um, and with all my injuries, my face was pretty bashed up, so I lost my two front teeth. Got loads of scarring, which you can't see now because it's all covered by my beard. And So I broke a load of bones. So if you want, I can go through them with you. So from top to bottom, so
Mhm.
my teeth, I broke 13 ribs. Um, I broke my left humerus, which is my upper left arm, and then I shattered my wrist, my left wrist. I broke my right shoulder blade. I broke my back, which it was a fracture on the L5. I also had a broken ankle as well. So I had a collapsed lung and partial collapsed lung. So full collapsed lung on my right lung, and then my left lung was partially collapsed as well. And my damaged liver as well. So there's just they're the injuries that I can recall. And
Mhm.
then my body's full of scars. So once I got to, so once I was airlifted to the Royal London Hospital, I was admitted. I stayed there for 15 days. While The first 4 days I was in intensive care. So the first operation I had was on the second day of being in hospital, and that was a 6 hour operation on my wrist where they put plates and pins in. That was where I thought I died because they couldn't. They couldn't stabilize me, so they put me on a ventilator. Um, yeah, and then they gave me a day's rest. in so I could go in for my second operation, which was pins and plates in my left arm to fix my humerus, which was completely snapped. And I also had a skin graft taken from my left thigh onto my forearm, if you can see there. So yeah, so they so they done that to me, and I think while I was in resus before the operations, they stitched me up. So my lips were stitched up, my eyelid was stitched up, my chin was stitched up, my elbows, my knees, my ankle, the side of my leg, and and while I was in hospital, I had a chest drain. I was fitted with a catheter. So I was in a pretty bad way. I was putting on oxygen, loads of wires hanging out of me, loads of drugs, loads of morphine to kind of keep the pain away. And the nurses and the consultants, doctors, everyone done an amazing job. Took after me there. So yeah. So after being in intensive care for 4 days after my operations, I was then moved to the high dependency unit, which I stayed there for 5 days, where they fed me, watered me, changed me, rolled me. I was also fitted with 2 chest drains as well, for the collapsed lung, to help with the healing of that. So I was on my back for over a week. So yeah, everything was done for me. So I couldn't help myself. Every time I needed water, the nurses would have to come and give me water. They would feed me breakfast, lunch, and dinner if I could eat. But it's very hard to eat because I lost my 2 front teeth. They were shattered. So there were still remains of my 2 front teeth there. But my lips, my face was swollen up, and it's very hard to eat. But yeah, it was a traumatic time being in hospital. But with everyone's help, I was discharged after 15 days. So they did say to me when I was laying in hospital, speaking to the consultants, I did ask them how long they thought I would be in hospital for, and they said 2 months. And my initial thought was, oh my gosh, that's a long time. And then I realised that I'm laying there, can't do anything for myself, pretty broken. And I thought 2 months, okay, then I'll take it. I'll take 2 months. If it's going to take 2 months for me to get out of hospital, then I just accepted it. And by some amazing recovery, I managed to escape after 15 days. So once I was discharged, where I live on my own, and I lived on my own before the accident, where I couldn't do anything for myself. My sister and brother-in-law, they took me in. So I stayed with them while I carried on with my recovery. So they fed me and changed me. Yeah, lots of stuff. all the stuff that you take for granted.
Yeah.
So so when I left hospital, I was in a back brace for my back. I was in a moon boot for my ankle, and my arm and hand was in a I had a splint for my wrist hand, and then I was in a sling as well. So lucky enough, I didn't break both sides. Like both was on the left side, or both on the right side. Like it was my right leg, and then my left upper limb. So I could kind of balance. So while in hospital, going back to hospital when I was in high dependency unit, 2 physiotherapists come to see me, and that was when they fitted my back brace on, and they put a moon boot on for me, and that was when I took my first steps.
Yeah, those first steps are something.
Yeah,
They really, really are something. I can see exactly how you're feeling from what you're saying, and reflection as well. Those first steps are one of a kind.
yeah. Probably one of the hardest things I've done.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. So when I put a back brace on me, well, they hadn't even put it on me, so they set me up in bed, and I thought they put a back brace on me. But where I had been laying down for so long, I felt a weight of my whole body, and it felt like I had like a 20 kilogram weight on me. And then I said, "Oh, God, that's heavy." And they said, we're not even put it on yet." So I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So, so once they did secure the back brace to me, and put my moon boot on me, I only managed to stand up and take one or two steps, and then I said, "That's it. I can't do it anymore." So they sat me down in the chair, and I think I sat. They said, "Look, try and sit in the chair for as long as you can." And it probably got to like 20, 30 minutes. I thought, "God, I can't do this anymore." So it was pretty tired. I was sweating. It was probably all the morphine that they pumped me with. so 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 I was pretty tired just from taking two steps and sitting in the chair. So yeah, I called the nurses and they put me back in bed. But yeah, there's loads of parts to the recovery, from like taking my first steps, to getting home. So the physiotherapist wouldn't let me leave. Oh yeah, so after I was moved from the high dependency unit to the trauma ward,
Mhm,
that was when they decided to take my catheter out, and I could
mhm.
try and go to the bathroom on my own. So that took a couple of days before I could like do that myself. But I still had to call the nurses to put a back brace on me, put a boot on me, so I could make my way to the bathroom. And then slowly, each day I was getting stronger, taking more steps. And they said to me, before you leave, because they knew that I was going to go and live with my sister and brother-in-law, that I had to do the steps. So I managed. So they took me to the corridor. I walked down the corridor and they took me to some steps. And I just said, "So how do you want me to do it? Like to walk up the steps and come back down?" And they said, "However you want." So I managed to get up backwards. So, so like going up the stairs backwards. My niece, so like when I got home, I was doing the same. And like my niece, "Oh, how come you're walking like Michael Jackson up the stairs?" I'm like, "Well, this is the only way I can get up the stairs." And like at the time, she was only 5. But yeah, so I managed the stairs. And then the day before they were going to discharge me. So they don't normally
Mhm.
discharge people on the weekend. Um, and it got to Friday, and I caught an infection. So they had to keep me in, so they couldn't discharge me on Friday, which I thought they was going to. So I had to stay another 2 days while the infection cleared up. Um, and then on a Monday, I got the good news, and they said, "We're discharging you." So yeah, so it took them a while to write up the discharge note because it was so long, and then write out my prescription with a long list of drugs that they gave me to go home with. So finally, I got home. So my
Mhm.
two sisters and my brother and my other brother-in-law. So I've got a big family. So I had a lot of help, a lot of support. So they came
Yeah.
to pick me up in the evening. Managed to get home, and yeah, so my family were there waiting for me.
Hmm. Of course, they were just extremely grateful to see you there.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so that was first my first night home. So I got to bed, but I don't
Hmm.
know if you remember, but that August it was really hot. so
Yes.
so yeah, well yeah, it was 2 years ago. So maybe you do, maybe you don't, but it was really hot. So I was laying in bed, and it was like a furnace. So I'm like, "Oh
Yeah.
my gosh!" So all I had was a bed gown on, And I was
Yeah.
just laying there and it was sweating. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, maybe I should go back to hospital. Could have got aircon there, but but no, I would take being home over being in hospital.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was me getting home, and then first day getting help, getting out of bed, and then I thought, so got myself downstairs. Well, with help, obviously. I got myself downstairs. So when I left hospital, they said that I had to have my back brace on, where I went for like 12 weeks, and had my moon boot on until they could tell me that I could take it off. So that day, yeah, got downstairs, had breakfast, and I thought, okay, I'm not going to sit around.
Mhm.
I'm going to try and walk. So
Mhm.
so like the back brace was still on me. So the back brace stayed on me all day, every day until I went to sleep. And then the moon boot had to be put on me if I wanted to walk around. So every time I was getting up and down, I was getting help. Um, so yeah, so I at first I started my recovery with just walking around the garden.
Mhm.
Um, so I've done that maybe 2, 3 times a day, and then I creased a little bit more, and then
Mhm.
I ventured out outside to the front. So where my sister lives, um, um, there's like a pathway where I could do laps. So I was doing laps. So I was actually timing myself and trying to beat my time on how many laps I can do. So I actually got it all on Strava. And like people couldn't believe that I was actually walking
Yeah.
and doing all the
Yeah.
laps and like building up the laps and trying to get faster.
Yeah.
But like there's only so much I could do, and
Yeah.
how fast I could go until like the real physio started. So the real physio didn't start until I I went for a checkup for my ankle, and they said that it healed. I could start weight bearing,
Mhm.
and that was when they that but I still had to have the moon boot on to do stuff. But they said I could take that off, and then I was signed up for physiotherapy with the NHS,
Mhm.
which I've done via video, which was quite tough
Yeah.
because it's hard to engage and for the physiotherapist to know what pain I'm in
Mm.
and what I can and can't do. But they done the best they can because it was COVID,
Mm.
so there was no face to face physio. So so yes, so I've done physio with the NHS, and then there was countless appointments I had to go to for so I kind of damaged. I forgot to say, so I damaged my radial nerve when it happened. So I couldn't. So I lost kind of lost the use of my hand and wrist.
Mhm.
Um, so I started with hand therapy as well. So that probably started 3 weeks after I was discharged from hospital. So that was happening every 3 weeks, and then and then as they could see improvements, it was every like 6 weeks going back and just trying to get movement back into my
Mhm.
wrist and hand and building up strength in that as well. Um, so once I had my back brace off, I could take my back brace off. So I think I had an appointment, a video call, with one of the consultants.
Mhm.
So it was quite hard to get appointments on NHS
Yeah.
um, because, yeah, I won't go into it too much, but I had to go private to see
Mhm.
the consultants, which I was going to see on the NHS. So so I managed to get all the appointments with the consultants, which I was meant to see on the NHS privately. So I had a Zoom call for my back. Um, so I had a Zoom call with him. The consultant said that he needed a recent X-ray, so I had a recent X-ray done after that consultation, and then a week later, he examined the X-ray and said, "Yeah, you can start taking your back brace off gradually over like the 2 weeks." So each day I was wearing it less and less, so like an hour less every day,
Yeah.
until like the 2 weeks was up. Um, So that was when I was put in contact with a private physiotherapist. Um,
Hmm.
Maybe I can mention her name because she really helped.
Yeah.
Her name's Lisa, and she assessed me and started me on my road to recovery with all the different
Mm.
exercises I was doing. So she gave me a plan. I followed a plan. I was doing physio 3 times a day, every day, without fail.
Yeah.
Morning, afternoon, and evening, just
Hmm.
to because I just wanted to get better. Just want to get myself strong again. And then 6 weeks after seeing her, she told me that she couldn't see me anymore. I nearly cried because she was absolutely amazing. Um, yeah, so she told me that she had to go on maternity leave, so that was great. She was going to go have a baby, and because of COVID, she couldn't work anymore face to face. So yeah, so I asked her for some recommendations, maybe closer to home, like closer to Romford area, and then she gave me two recommendations for the Essex area, and then the living clinic came up, and that was when um, so that was when I saw Colin Lewin at the Lewin
Mhm.
Clinic, and I think it was shocked to see the state that I was in because Lisa gave him a great handover, and there was a
Mhm.
list of injuries which he had to work with.
Mhm.
So that started in the beginning of January 2021. Um, so so Colin assessed me. He gave me a plan, and then yeah, I carried on doing all the exercises that he gave me. I was doing gym work when I was at the clinic, so I would see him every week on a Monday, um, without yeah without any breaks. Maybe when he was doing soccer aid, I think he was away for a week or so. He gave me a week off, which was nice. But I was still doing physio at home. But yeah, so when I went into clinic, they
Mhm.
had a nice gym there which I could use, which was
Mm.
great. And then yeah, so I carried on seeing Colin uh, for about a year, I guess, because I think he discharged me around December time, or I may have had one more appointment, like follow up appointment
Yeah.
in January this year, if I can recall. But yeah, with all his help and support, it, it got me to where I am. So
Mhm.
while I was doing all the recovery and all the physio, I managed to do a 5K run, which I never thought I'd do. So
Mhm.
so yeah, that was amazing to do. But I've not done one since. I proved to myself that I could do it, and I thought, okay, I can do it now. Let's just concentrate on getting strong again. So
Yeah.
I'm not 100%, but life is getting back to normal
Mm.
mostly. But there's a lot of things that I still can't do, like physical things that I used to enjoy doing, like Tough Mudder.
I saw the
Yeah,
t-shirt.
and like paintballing, go karting. So anything which is too physical, not even swinging a golf club, I can't even do that yet, even though that's not physical. But it's impact on my arm. So I think it's going to take a while longer before I fully recover. If I fully recover, I don't know, but I'm just going to take it as it comes and just see what happens. So I'm positive, stay positive, and just carry on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. That's the thing. I think it's incredible your sheer determination throughout the whole thing. First of all, physio 3 times a day.
yeah,
I have to applaud you because I can't imagine. I mean, some people might be doing physio 3 times a day, but I can't imagine a lot do.
yeah. It was tiring. Like looking back now, I'm like thinking, how did I even do that? Because I'll go down the gym once a day, and I'm back, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But then I won't. But that was all I was doing. So like, I was off work for like over a year. So I thought, while I've got this time off, I'm just going to use it to recover. Because until I go back to work, and like now work's kind of slowed down the kind of recovery because everyone has to work, right? I couldn't be off
Yeah.
forever. But I'm still getting down the gym, um, three, 4 or 5 times a week. But some weeks I take off, or if you get ill, then yeah, you kind of knocks
Hmm.
you back a little bit. But recently, well, the last couple of weeks has been good. I've been able to get down the gym a lot more than
Yeah.
usual, which is good.
Yeah. Do you find that obviously doing your physio so much and intensely during your kind of your early stages of your recovery, do you find that that helped you obviously physically 100%, but do
Yeah.
you think it helped you mentally just get through what was going on at that time?
Yes, it did. It did indeed. Well, it kind of helped me block everything out
Yeah.
because I didn't have therapy until like a year after the accident. Um, yeah. So yeah, so I found myself breaking down a lot more. So
Hmm.
that's when I had to ask for help.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got help back in July. Done some
Mhm.
EMDR therapy, which helped a lot to process the trauma from the accident, from being in hospital. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to
I,
speak about.
oh, of course, it's
Yeah,
hard to speak about,
yeah,
of course. I think that's asking for help is one of the bravest and the strongest things to do, I personally think, because asking for help, it's a scary thing to do. So to take that step, and not a
yeah,
lot of people like to do it in whatever their circumstances are. So to just take that step and go, to even realize you needed help
yeah,
and just to go, okay, I'm going to get the help now. I think it's amazing. It's an amazing thing to be able to do.
yeah, yeah. And recently, it's happened again. So I started therapy again. So I had my first session yesterday, which went
Hmm.
well. So hopefully that continues to help
Yeah.
me get better.
Of
Yeah,
course, but I guess that's the thing, isn't it? It's the roller coaster, and um, yes, obviously you had therapy, when you first started it, and you're in therapy again, but
yeah,
that's okay.
yeah. Because things can happen, and like things can be triggers.
Yeah.
So yeah. So after a year, I got therapy, and that helps. And then another year or so later, I needed therapy again. So I might have need therapy in like a well. Let's see how this goes. And then, but you never know. I could need therapy again down the line, 5 years, 10 years. Like things just
Yeah.
trigger it off. But at the moment, I seem to be in an okay position.
Yeah.
So like life is getting back to normal. But yeah, like with all physio I've done, yes, it did help mentally, uh, and and I think if people do go through something similar, they should just listen to everyone, like all the professionals anyway, or listen to me because I could tell them that they should listen to the professionals and just get up and just do what you're told and just follow the instructions because some people don't like to follow instructions and some people think physio is just going to physio for that session, but they forget that
Mm,
they need to do the physio outside of them sessions. Like I was
yeah.
doing it like 3 times a day. If people were that dedicated, or even if they've done it once a day, their recovery would be so much better, so much
Yeah.
faster. I think because because I know a lot of people go, oh yeah, I've got physio. I'm like, so what you do after physio? So that's what you do on the other days. Nothing. I'm like, what? You're going to be doing the same exercises or like same things that you're being told to do while you're doing them for them sessions. And I'm like, oh, all right, yeah.
Mm,
But
mm.
it's from experience, and I've had a lot of experience of it
Yeah.
of recovering. But yeah, I think if I can inspire people to help themselves, and as you say, like asking for help is a big thing because like before this, I didn't ask for anything. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, asking for help
Yeah.
is okay.
Yeah. It's of course it's okay. And I think it's changed. We actually spoke obviously before this, you and I, and it's changed your whole way of life in a way. Obviously, physically, yes, but it has changed your whole way of life. What's happened to you, hasn't it?
Yes, yes. No, it has indeed. It's just like the outlook on life. Like before the accident, I love life, and I enjoy everything and do everything that I can. But even more so now, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing the kind of gratitude that you can get from something that
Yeah,
you've been through because you become, I'm sure you did as well as I have with what I went through. You become so grateful for the smallest of things that you were probably grateful for before, of course,
yeah,
but now there's just a different level of
yeah,
gratitude.
yeah. Even to help myself to get like a glass of water. So
Yeah.
like before, I would have to ask or family member to
Yeah.
fill up my water bottle because I couldn't even unscrew the
Yeah.
lid to fill it up. And yeah, of course I can do that now. But it took a while. It took a while. So like every
Yeah.
time I needed water, I'll be asking, "Oh, can you fill up my bottle?" And
Yeah.
yeah, and like, as I said before, never used to ask for anything, and then yeah,
Yeah.
I had to ask for everything.
Yeah.
And even to like shower and wash and stuff like that. I didn't have a
Mhm.
shower for. I don't want to say,
Oh, here we
but yeah,
go.
yeah. I couldn't shower for like a while because I have so many scars
Mhm.
and I was
Yeah.
quite bandaged up. So I didn't say before, but I always so after the accident, the district nurses were coming to see me twice a week to redress all my wounds, um, redress my wounds, and there were some scars and some wounds that weren't healing, and like some of them took forever. So one on my upper arm here, and then my ankle. So my ankle was stitched up, and then like the stitches came out, and then it kind of seemed like it was healing up, but then
Mm.
the scab started falling off, and then it just merged into one big wound and then opened back up. Um, so that kind of took so that took until like um, May last year or no April May last year to kind of heal up, but I had to go see some specialists for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, it just so like the nurses was coming around to me twice a week and for for how many months? I can't do the math right now. Maybe 9 months, nine
Yeah.
months. But so that's the kind of help I needed,
Yeah.
like even though my sister's lovely and like she's like a first aider and like she was doing everything for me really,
Yeah.
um, and like she was trying to dress the wounds as well. Sometimes the district nurses just didn't come because
Yeah.
they may have forgot about me. But you know, it happens. They like can they get busy or like they're short staffed, which is fine. My sister was there to help us as well. But yeah, there were so many people that I've met along the way that have helped, and all of them have
Hmm.
been amazing. You know, from the people that picked me up on the roadside to being in hospital, the district nurses, even my GP, the nurses there.
Yeah.
When I managed to get to my GP, it was a while before I could go and see him because
Mm.
yeah, yeah, because and then all the different consultants, physiotherapists, hand therapists, um, yeah,
Mm.
so even though something bad happened to me, I've met a lot of amazing people.
Mm.
Yeah,
And I think that's one of the most interesting things is you can meet some of the most amazing people after some of the worst things that have ever happened to you.
yeah,
And I find that actually beautiful and incredibly fascinating.
yeah, and with Teresa, like who was first on the scene, who's my hero.
Yeah.
I actually met with her for lunch on Saturday, which was lovely. So I've kept in contact with her. She's like,
Yeah.
well, she's part of my family now.
Yeah.
She's part of my family. There's a guy called Frank who works
Yeah.
at London's air ambulance. I've
Mhm.
kept in contact with him. I actually went to the helipad. When did I go? Not maybe August time. I think I went to the helipad at the Royal London. So I managed to get up there, but the helicopter was on a mission, so I didn't get to meet the crew at the time. But
Mhm.
I was surprised by I was surprised by one of the consultants, doctors, who was actually at the scene, who
Hmm.
who took my who kind of took down noted down all my injuries, and so like it was lovely to see her and give her a big hug. Yeah, and that was the first time I see Frank since being discharged from hospital as well, and like he was amazed to see how well I was doing, because when I left hospital, as I said, I was in a back brace, a moon boot, a sling, and my face was in pieces.
Yeah.
And I was I was in a pretty bad
Yeah.
way, but but like for me to turn up there with a load of donuts to give it to all of them, and I think they were pleased with them, which was nice. But yeah, there's
Yeah.
so much I could tell you about like the recovery, but I don't know if there's enough time. But yeah, just there's different stages of it. It's just yeah,
Yeah.
you get ups and downs. Uh, I'm doing I'm doing a lot better than I was, say, 2 years ago, even a year ago.
Mm.
Massive improvements. So yeah, back on my feet and doing and life is getting back to normal.
Yeah. How do you find then that obviously you said there's a few things that you haven't been able to do that you love to do before,
Yeah,
paintballing and even golf, for instance. So the
yeah.
things, how have you found kind of adjusting to not being able to do what you used to be able to do before? How do you find that has kind of made you feel recently?
Um, it's upsetting at times because
Yeah.
if people try, well, like organise to do something physical, I normally have to decline and think of other
Yeah.
things that I can do, and and let them know that I can't do that.
Mm.
Or like I would turn up. So, for example, 2 weeks ago, I had a primary school reunion,
Hmm.
and the guy that organised it organised baseball batting cage
Hmm.
over at Westfield. I didn't tell him that I couldn't do it, but I just wanted to turn up and see everyone. And then when I turned up
Yeah.
and said, "Look, I can't actually like partake in this," and he turned around and said, "Oh, just send me a list of things you can do." So so I still haven't sent him a list, but I will send him a list of like things I can do, like flight club, maybe I could do bowling, just like stuff that
Yeah.
isn't too physical. And he said, "Look, we'll work around you on." So that's nice, you know.
Yeah.
So for the things I can't do just yet, hopefully in a year or two I can do them. But yeah, it's just finding other things to do. Um, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. No, for sure. But what I find, especially interesting is when you were talking about, getting a glass of water, you're able to get a glass of water now for the first time, or not for the first time, sorry, you're
yeah.
able to get a glass of water now on your own, but, you couldn't at some point.
No,
And I think that's one of the hardest things about going through, particularly a physical injury is the independence that is just completely stripped from you.
yeah,
There's what one day could be the most independent person in the
yeah.
world, and the next day you can't get a glass of water on your own, and that's mentally it's an incredible challenge.
Yeah, I found it very hard having to
Yeah.
ask for help for everything.
Yeah.
Even being in hospital, I think where I was so thirsty, I was asking
Yeah.
for water every so often, and like the nurse, I think the nurse was so busy, and they said, "On, can you stop asking for so much water? I need water." But yeah, they my sisters had a word and they brought me water. I think three of my sisters phoned up at like different times and like asked them why they wouldn't bring me water. But I know they were stretched and everything, but
Yeah.
I couldn't do it myself. And like, if I could,
Yeah.
I would have. And like, I wanted to get out of
Yeah.
the hospital, and like, I said, look, like, just discharge me, like, whenever I'm ready, because as I said, they kept me on for like a further 2 days, and I said like maybe this bed can be given to someone else and you can discharge me. And they said no, you can. We want you to stay as long as you need to. So I was like, okay, then fine. But yeah, yeah, just being able to do stuff for myself now, like housework, changing bed sheets, which I couldn't do before.
Mm.
So when I did move home, my sisters were still coming around and doing all the cleaning and stuff for me, which was great. But it was sad because I couldn't do it myself. But
Yeah.
as time went on and I was getting stronger, I was able to do stuff for myself. So they don't come around and clean anymore, which is a shame. But yeah, us. Well, yeah. We have a big family, a lot of friends. So yeah, I got a lot of support, a lot of help, which was great.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
like they made me little books, cards, and it was nice, but it was bad because I was in such a bad way. But there's a lot of love out there, which
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah.
Which helps.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a lot of love out there, and I think people should see that there is more, people should see that there is a lot more love, because I think it's something that people don't realize, but there is a lot of love out in the world, and people want to help you,
Yeah.
your nearest, your dearest, even people that aren't even close to you, they still they want to give you love and they want to help.
Yeah, because I was surprised with, like the people that were reaching out. I haven't spoken to for years and so on,
Yeah.
just to make sure I was all right. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was like it's amazing. So as it was COVID times, like I did have done it like COVID, like I don't know, COVID safe. So like people would come and see me in a garden. So my sister and brother-in-law, they set up like a marquee. So like people could come and
Yeah.
see me during the day. But I think there was one day where I had like 3 visitors, and they could see it was too much for me. So I said, I did 1 visit a day. So for like the first month and a half, I had a visitor like nearly every day, which was lovely, but tiring at the same time. But it helped me
Yeah.
through, you know. It was lovely to see everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I guess having friends and family to help you, it helps you
Yeah.
push through as well, and makes
Definitely.
recovery not easier, but something to do, because I didn't want to let anyone down either. So
Yeah.
that's why I continued.
Yeah. But that's really interesting, because you didn't want to let anyone else down, but you were the one that was going through it. And it's a really interesting headspace to think that you don't want to let others down. And it's interesting, because I know that's what people do, and people think it's you're the one that's going through it.
Yeah.
So the only person you're technically going to let down is you. Not that you're going to, but
Yeah.
that's it. You're not going to let anyone else down when you're going through what you're going through. But I guess it's you do you want to prove to yourself, but I think by proving to yourself is also by proving to others, look what you're capable of doing,
Yeah.
and look how far you're capable of getting and going, and
Yeah. Yeah. No.
things like that.
Yeah. 100% agree. Because there were times I wanted to give up, but I didn't. And probably a good thing that I did stay with my my
Yeah.
sister and brother-in-law, because if I was sitting on my bum doing nothing and not doing any
Yeah.
physio, they wouldn't question me, but I wanted to show them that I was doing this physio, because
Yeah.
they put me up for so long, so fed me, looked after me. So if I was at home, it could have been different, because I could have just sat down and lazy
Yeah.
and not done physio 3 times a day, or like even once a day. I'm gonna just like sit around doing nothing, and just go to my physio sessions every week, and wouldn't be no improvements. And Colin would have been very disappointed with that. but week on week, I was turning up. I was turning up and like improving
Yeah.
week on week, and then it'd be month on month. But yeah, yeah.
I think something that's really interesting as well is, you obviously, because you were living with your sister, so you wanted to prove to them, just the small things. And I think maybe this goes for anybody that is living on their own, because you said if you were living on your own, how different things could have been. And I think maybe for people that are living on their own, or feel like they don't have as big a support or a network, I think a really interesting thing to do is, if there's like one goal of the day or one goal of the week, so say there was like a physical goal of you had to do a certain exercise or one physio session, and to motivate yourself, it's one of those things where if you tell someone you're going to do it, even if they're not physically with you and they don't live with you, even if it's just a text message,
Yeah.
you say, I'm going to do X by X.
Yeah.
And that is motivation that you have to put out there, because you've now got the pressure, not just from you, but to prove to that other person. So it's a really interesting thing, because you might not be living with the people, but just send them a text message and
Yeah,
just say, I'm going to do this session by this date. And then there's already that pressure of wanting to do it, to prove that you can do it.
yeah. No, I agree with that, because if I say to someone I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going, or like, I'm going to go for a run, I have to do that, because I said to
Yeah.
someone that I'm going to do it. So if I don't do it, I'm going to let them down,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to let myself
Hmm.
down.
Yeah.
You're just holding yourself accountable
Yeah.
for for it, and like when you said, for people living alone, I don't know how they would have survived, because I wouldn't have. I don't think.
Yeah. But I guess that's the thing, is you have, and look how far you've come. And I think that's something that we spoke about previously, is to go from the place that you were in and everything that happened to you, to see how far you've come. You even ran a 5K.
Yeah, I know.
you know,
Yeah, yeah,
just to,
yeah,
to see where you've got yourself.
yeah, from all the injuries to where I am now is pretty amazing, pretty amazing recovery that I've done. Some people may
Yeah.
have not done as well. Maybe I was a
Yeah.
lucky one. Well, I think they saved me anyway, because like I think I was a goner. I was definitely a
Yeah.
goner. Being stuck in that car, and after the
Yeah.
first operation, someone was keeping me here. Yeah,
Well, yeah, they were keeping you here, and you've got a lot more of life to live. That's the
yeah,
most important
definitely,
thing.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still need to find my purpose. I've not found it yet, but I'm sure I will. I'm sure I
Yeah, and
will.
you know what? It will come. You know what? Because we spoke about this previously
Yeah,
as well. Is it will come? It will come when it
yeah,
comes.
yeah. I won't look for it. When it happens, it will
Yeah.
happen, and then I'll just realise, and I'll like, okay, that's why I was kept here to help other
Give me a
people.
call. I want to know when you have the moment. Give me a call.
Definitely, definitely. I will let you know. I'll let everyone know. Yeah. But yeah, once I find my calling, you
Yeah.
will know. I'll let you know. But yeah.
Yeah, it will come when it comes. And did you have that glimmer of hope moment? Was there a turning point where you saw hope again?
Hope. I think it was when I actually moved back home.
Yeah.
So getting my independence back.
Hmm.
And then I was able to. So there's a gym down the road from me, which I was using every day. So I'll be doing physio at home. So when the gym opened, I was going down there every day to do my physio. So I was actually walking to the gym, doing my sessions. Some people would ask me questions. Oh my gosh, what happened to you? And some people would compliment me as well. So, cool, you really improved since I first see you down here. And like these are just random people that I've never spoken to or not seen before. And I'm like, oh wow, people actually notice and and
Yeah.
and and, and can see that I'm putting the effort in, and they can see improvements of like when they first see me
Mhm.
and what I was doing down there, and I'm like, oh wow, so yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah, I'm making, I was making good progress, but yeah, I think the turning point was so up until I think what was the hardest part was I think it was the beginning of last year, so January until probably when I moved home, was probably a pretty tough time because it was really slow, and like even though I was doing all the physio and everything, time just slowed down, and then I thought,
Yeah.
but once I got home, time just started speeding up back up because I was doing more stuff for myself,
Yeah.
and then last year September, I started my phase return back to work.
Hmm.
I was only doing 2 hours a day, twice a week, and that was tiring. But from there, kind of built up the hours, built up the days, and then last when did I go full time? Probably January, yeah,
Hmm.
end of January this year. So yeah, so I'm back to work full time, but it took about 4 months for the phase return from like 2 hours a day, twice a week, and to full time. But yeah, but now I'm back at work. Yeah, time does fly. Once you've got more things to think about and and do.
But yeah, it's and how are you? I know you've briefly touched upon it, but how are you doing now with everything?
Physically, I'm doing okay. Not 100% recovered, but because the nerve is still recovering.
Yeah.
And when I was in hospital, they said to me, "Yeah, it'd be 6 weeks. I know, no, 6 months to 6 to 9 months before you recover." And I'm like 6 to 9 months, and 6 to 9 months came, and I'm like, nothing's nothing's changed,
Yeah.
nothing's improved. So is that when recovery starts? So I think it was when recovery was starting because, yeah, because because I couldn't use my hand or my arm properly until I couldn't move it at all for a long while. Um, but um, but yes, but physically I'm doing so much better. In my head,
Mhm.
my mental health state is I'm okay. So that's why I've started therapy because I break down a lot, speak about it, like even now.
Ah, that's fine.
Yeah,
We all break down. We all break
yeah,
down. Don't worry.
yeah,
We all break down.
yeah. So yeah, I'm getting help for that. But it's probably due to the civil case, um, which has brought back the memories, the emotions. So yeah, need to get help, which I am doing.
Yeah. I think something really important is that people need to, and I know you know this, but I think people need to realize that it's so okay to cry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, definitely. It is okay to cry, but not on camera. Yeah. I think I broke down so many times, probably in the last month. I try and just hold back the tears. But yeah, yeah, it is okay to cry. Like
Yeah.
anyone listening in, anyone watching, it's fine. It's okay,
Mhm.
but I'm not gonna. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it is. It is. It's okay. And you know what? It's okay to do it
yeah,
anywhere. It's okay
yeah. Of
it
course.
is okay to cry anywhere.
Yes. Yeah, definitely
Um,
it is. It is. And if you need to, it helps. I think it helps.
yeah,
Sometimes you just need a good cry.
yeah. Sometimes you just need to go cry. It doesn't matter where you are or
No,
who you're with, as the people will understand. Even the strangers around you will understand because they'll look at you and they'll think, okay, something's happening, something's going
yeah,
on. And they might come over and ask if you need a shoulder or they won't, but it's really important that people need to know that it is so okay. Um,
yeah. I tell myself that. I tell myself, I tell myself that. But I think there's been so many tears, so many breakdowns. I'm thinking I've had enough of it.
yeah,
But yeah, it is okay to cry.
yeah, of course.
Wherever, whenever, it doesn't matter. And don't care what anyone else thinks.
Hmm.
Like you be yourself, and
Yeah.
because no one knows what you've gone through.
Nope. Nobody knows what you're going through. Nobody knows what you've gone through. No one knows what's on inside your head. No one even knows what's going on physically because you could have everything covered, all your clothes covered, and nobody can see. So that's why you should never judge anyone for anything with any story because you have no idea what they're going through. No idea.
No,
And a lot of people won't even tell you what they're going through and they won't even be honest. It's not about not being honest, sorry. They won't want to tell you.
no,
So if people look like they're doing okay or they say, "Yeah, I'm doing
yeah,
okay." Just that's fine. If that's how they want to say it, that's how they want to say it.
yeah, no, because like you could see me like you could see me in the street, and you would think like nothing wrong with me, because I kind of look normal when I've covered up with clothes on and stuff, and you can't see none of my scars, but I still got like scars on my hands and my
Yeah.
wrist that you can see, and my hands. So people can still see them scars, and they probably think I've got some kind of disease, but it's all right. I actually don't care what people think. Well, try not to care what people think. But if they ask me a
Yeah.
question and And if I feel like telling them, I'll tell them and share my story, but they won't believe it. It's a miracle. I think it is a miracle that I'm here still, to tell my story, because other people wouldn't survive or they wouldn't have recovered as well. So maybe I saved a life because it could have been someone else. It could have been someone else who got hit by that car, by that driver, and they may not survive. So that's another way for me to look at it. Is that I could have,
Yeah.
I may have saved someone else's life,
Yeah.
but because I'm still here, I'm still
Yeah.
here. Could have been someone else, but it wasn't, and it was me, sadly. But it's okay. Well, I've come out stronger, and I will be stronger physically one day. Not right now, but I'm working on it. Working on it.
Yeah.
And mentally, yeah. Well, even though I've got tears in my eyes now, but yeah.
But it might not have just been this person's life that you might have saved that might have got hit by the car. Just people listening to this, you don't know, just from your story and what you're sharing now and what you're talking about now, you don't know what life you're going to touch somewhere over the world.
Very true.
And if there is somebody listening to this right now and that is that person, then that's another person that
So
you yeah.
Well, the reason I'm talking to you is because I got back up. So, like anyone going through bad times, tough times, there's always a way through. You just you just need to find that way, or get help to find that way, because there's help out there. You just need to seek it, and it's okay to ask for help as well. It's okay to cry. It's okay to ask for help. That's the message I think people should know, because I never used to ask for anything, and like now I ask for everything. If they're offering, I'm taking it. Normally I'm like, no, on, but I can do this for you. I'm like, okay then, fine. If you're offering, I'll take it. But yeah, I think I've cashed in all my chips now. So there's like after the last 2 years or so, I've cashed in all my chips. So there's no more help I can ask for.
So is that the piece of advice that you would give to somebody?
Yeah, it's that, like, even though, so my life was turned upside down. So I was up here, like life before the accident. I was on top of the world because nothing's stopping me. Life was great. Family, friends around me. I had my health. I was breathing. I was walking. I could do the sports and activities that I wanted to do. And then in a split second, everything's taken away from you. So if I can do it, so everything was taken away from me, and I've got most of it all back. So you can be at your lowest, but it's always turning it around, and that's what I've done. Ask for help, because you're gonna need it. Well, I did. I definitely needed it, because if I didn't ask for help, and if I didn't get help, I could be on the streets. I could have lost my job, could have lost my flat, and that's another reason how people turn homeless, because they don't have that support and help.
Yeah,
and that could have been me, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't, and it's not you. And that is the thing: is yes, you asked for help, but you have your life turned around, completely when you had the accident, but you've now turned it around again.
Yeah. It's hard work.
Which is beautiful.
Yeah, it's hard work. Like, nothing's easy in life, because like if life was easy, we wouldn't be here. Everyone would be happy all the time. But I was really low. I'm getting back. Not to where I am yet, but yeah, I'm getting there. But you got to persevere. You got to be positive. It's easy to say be positive. Everyone was telling me be positive, be positive. I'm like, there's only so much positive I can do right now. I didn't tell them that. I didn't say that to people, but in my head I'm like, I know. But if you knew that what I was going through, because no one will ever live through what I have, everyone has their own story, and everyone deals with things differently. But but it is important to stay positive, like to make sure that your mental health is in a good state. So So I was being positive. If I wasn't positive, and if I didn't have positive thoughts, I would have recovered as well, because
Yeah.
my thoughts were like, yes, I'm gonna get movement back in my hand, gonna get my gonna get movement back in my wrist. I can
Mhm.
um so so yeah, and I'm gonna walk again. My back is
Yeah.
gonna be fine, my ankle's gonna be fine. Yeah, there was a lot of injuries to go through, but yeah, but yeah, you know, I've kind of won the lottery. I said to myself, or like I spoke to the universe as people do. I said, look, if you give movement back in my hand and arm, I've won the lottery. So even though I played the lottery, I've still not won, but deep down, I've won. You know,
Mhm.
so yeah. Um, so people can get back up from being at a very low point. It can be physically, mentally.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is possible to turn your life back around from. Well, to me, it was nothing. Everything was taken away, and I got it all back
Mhm.
mostly, mostly, mostly.
Yeah. But you have it back and you do have a big smile on your
At
face,
times,
even through the tears.
yeah, you got to smile. You got to smile. You know, like I know bad things happen, and like I've been through a lot. Just stay positive, and like yeah, people can come back from a
Mhm.
bad place where I was, and I'm in a better place,
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
better place.
Yeah. And I think it's really important to know and to remember and to realize that it's a climb and it's a journey and it's not going to happen overnight and it's not going to happen in a week.
Yeah,
Really, I mean, who knows? Someone could in a week. Who knows? But it's a journey, and you have to get ready for the journey. But it's a journey, and it's a tough climb. But you can do it.
yeah. Could you mention that about it can't things can't be done overnight? So when I went to my dentist, when I went to my dentist, he could not believe what happened to me. But all I wanted for Christmas, all I wanted for Christmas that year was my teeth extracted and new teeth put back in, so I could eat Christmas dinner.
Hmm.
And when I spoke to him, and he went through the list of procedures that I needed to go through,
Hmm.
have my teeth sorted out.
Hmm.
It was the longest list ever, and I nearly cried. I actually nearly cried because it was, yeah. But
Because it was the longest list ever.
yes, it was the longest list ever, and I thought I'm not going to have no teeth for Christmas, and I didn't have teeth for Christmas, so they were actually extracted 2 weeks before Christmas,
Hmm.
and I had a bone graft in there, so
Yeah.
I had a massive gap in my teeth until they put a temporary bridge in. So
Yeah.
it took over 6 months um, from seeing my dentist and having the implants and crowns put on. It was such a long procedure, and and there's me thinking, okay, I can get into a dentist chair now because after the back brace came off, I'm thinking, yes, I'm going to book an appointment to see my dentist, and he's going to sort my teeth out, and I'm going to eat Christmas dinner. But it never happened, and only um, yeah, it was June last year when I finally had the crowns put on, fitted to the implants. I actually went five guys first because I wanted to bite into a burger. I had a burger, and then I went to Franco Manco and had a pizza, and then I had what did I have for dinner? Steak. And that was all in the space of a few hours. Because as soon as I got the crowns fitted, it was amazing. Like
Yeah.
even now they don't feel like my teeth, but they're there,
Yeah.
and I can actually bite into things. So so from the accident until like last June, I couldn't actually bite into anything, so everything was cut up for me. And so, but when you said things can't happen overnight, you're right, they can't happen overnight, not always. And there's me
Yeah.
thinking that I could get my teeth replaced in a week or two, but I hadn't realised like the amount of procedures that I needed to have
Yeah.
to restore my teeth and not get them back. So that's why I've got the smile.
Well, it's a great
Thank you.
smile. It's beautiful. So, and it's nice to see a smile, you know? It's nice to see after everything you've been through, it's nice to see a smile.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm not going to, yeah, as I said, there's no point being sad about it. You know, something bad's happened. I'll come through it. And that's what I tell myself as well. Like, the past is the past. Even thinking about it makes me cry sometimes.
But the past is
Yeah.
the past.
Yeah. I'm trying to move on, you know, trying to see the future. Well, like live for the present. So you don't want to plan for the future. Well, you plan for the future, but don't worry too much about the future because it may never happen. So you might as well live in the present, do what you want to do now instead of waiting
Hmm.
because tomorrow's never given.
Yeah. There is no time like the present. You're right. There's no time. And you never know what could happen. So,
Yeah, like I was breathing. I was just happy to be breathing.
yeah.
Um, yeah, thinking about it is just like hard as well.
Yeah. Yeah, you did. Did amazingly.
Thank you.
And you had to, of course. And I know you know that. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Everyone keeps on telling me, and I keep on telling myself. Keep on telling
yeah,
myself.
as long as you keep telling yourself that, I think that's the most important thing. So,
Yeah, and if I can inspire other people with the story, um, just so they know that they can turn their lives back around, and
hmm,
and yeah, you can do it.
you can do it. Your life can be turned one way, but you can turn it back.
Yeah,
Or not even back, you can turn it a different
yeah,
way and start a different chapter.
yeah, yeah. Totally agree. So anyone listening, yeah, it's possible. You put your mind to it, stay positive, get the help you
Hmm.
need, ask for help, because you can't do everything alone.
Hmm.
Well, if you're as broken as me, you can't do everything alone. You're gonna need a help, but like ask your friends, your family, anyone.
Hmm.
Like even like call the GP if you need to, you know.
Yeah.
But there's always someone there to help you, and there's phone numbers out there that you can call as well for help.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, is there anything else that you want to mention?
I don't
Or,
know. I don't know. I could talk about this forever because I've been through so much has happened between the accident and now. But no, I don't think there is anything I can add right now. I just hope to inspire other people that they can get back up, you know,
hmm,
because I
hmm,
did. It's hard work, but it's paid off.
hmm.
It's paid off. It's paid off. Um, yeah,
Yeah, and it is. It's incredibly motivating and inspirational in every way. And you're right. You can get back up.
yeah,
So
just like you did. Just like you did.
yes, just like I did.
Yeah,
So in all our own different ways, we all go through our recoveries in a very different way. But it's incredible how much we can relate to each other.
yeah, because it's a similar process for
Yeah,
everyone, like mentally, physically, um,
yeah,
and the hard work you need to put in to get you from A to B. You know,
hmm,
from is a similar process for everyone, but everyone follows a different path. You know, to
hmm,
process is well, yeah, I say the process is similar for everyone because everyone has to go through the same steps
yeah,
to get to where they are.
yeah,
Because in recovery, you've got to sort out yourself physically, mentally. But yeah, everyone does it differently.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, even if it's not physical
yeah,
injuries, it's any type.
yes, yeah, yeah. So any kind of trauma that you go through, it can be from anything, and 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 there's always coming back from it. So
Hmm.
never self doubt either. So believe in yourself.
Mm.
That's what I did. I believed in
Yeah.
myself.
I think that's a really important thing is to believe in yourself 100%. Because at the end of the day, the one person that's going to believe in you the most is you.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Definitely.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you today.
And Andrew, Andrew,
Thank you.
it's been a great chat.
Yeah, it has been. It
Bit
has.
emotional at times. I try and hold back the tears, but it's part of my story.
Exactly. It is. It's part of your story, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. That's what's the most important thing is there is nothing to be ashamed about.
So thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's my
And thanks
pleasure.
for reaching out. Because I didn't think I would be ever doing a podcast, telling my story. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, so thank you very much for having me and listening to me.
Well, there you go. That's another thing that you didn't think you could do, and look where we are
Yeah,
now. You've
I
done
know, I know. So no, but thank you.
it.
Thank you very much, and
Perfect.
and for your time as well, because I know time is precious.
Oh, don't be silly. Don't be
Yeah. Well,
silly.
that's another thing.
Don't be silly.
People need to realize time is precious as well. So
Yeah.
spend time with your family and friends. I
Yeah,
say,
definitely.
well, if you don't, you need to spend more time with them, and you should spend more
Yeah.
time with them because as we said earlier, tomorrow's never given.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So definitely just spend more time with the people that you love. For sure. Doing the things you love.
Definitely. So if you're doing something you don't love, stop doing it. Apart from work, some people love work, some people don't. I'm not saying I do or don't
Yeah.
love my job. If anyone's listening. But yeah, you should spend time doing the things you love as well, and spending time with
Hmm.
the people you love.
Hmm.
And I totally agree.
Definitely.
I've learned.
Definitely. Yeah, of course. And that yeah, 100%. That's a perfect way to finish this. I love that.
Yeah.